freediving. Have you heard of it? You've got to be really brave to do it. You plunge hundreds of feet down into the watery deep, no oxygen, a single breath. Spear fishermen, pearl divers have freedived for thousands of years, but it's now turned into a sport that is growing in popularity, and there's a new documentary. It's called Free Diver, and in it we see a 35-time world champion, Alexei Molchanov. Did I say that right? They call him the Machine, which you can see why if you watch even a minute of this documentary. He's incredible. It's his effort to break 5 world records in a single year. In the clip you're about to see, he attempts to reach 436 feet in the free immersion category. That's 131 feet deeper than the height of the Statue of Liberty. Hold your breath.
Alexei Molchanov, free immersion, 133 meters, world record attempt.
133 is no easy feat. However, Alexei has been training super well. Go, Alexei.
Look at his streamlining. It's just unbelievable. He's like a submarine.
60 meters.
2 minutes.
He's having a look.
Okay, there he goes.
Oh my God.
Down. Definitely seeing how strong of a dive this is.
Look at that.
That white dog. Michael John Warren, Freediver's director, writer, and producer, joins us now. Wow.
Yeah.
It's an incredible, watching this documentary makes you feel more alive, even though you're just sitting on your couch, because it makes you feel every breath.
Yeah.
And the intensity of the athlete that Alexei is, what his experience is like. What got you into it in the first place?
Yeah, well, as you guys may know, there was a GQ article that caught some attention of friends of mine, and we decided to turn it into a film. And the story was incredible. We were making the film before Alexei was banned from the sport. Alexei, the greatest living freediver in the world, is Russian. And during the Russian invasion of Ukraine, Alexei was banned from the sport. So he had to sit out for a season.
Wow.
The sport that he dedicated his life to.
Wow.
Top of that season, he had 3 world records. During that season, he lost 2 of those world records. He decides, I'm not just coming back next year and taking back those 2 world records I lost. I'm going to set 5 world records this year.
Wow.
It'll be the most dominant season in this very deadly sport. And that's what this film is about, is his quest to have the greatest season in one of the most dangerous sports in the world.
So he descends so deep into the ocean. I mean, there's a graphic an animation in the documentary where you see the Statue of Liberty, right?
Yeah.
And then he just keeps going down.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Why on earth do people do this? What is it that they're chasing? What are they? Is it an addiction? What is the experience under there for them?
Yeah, so there's definitely an addictive quality to it. These people are kind of taking their bodies to the brink of death, and not just sort of, I'm not just saying that to be funny, like they literally, their body starts to go into different processes that happen just before you die.
Shut down.
There's a euphoric element to that. Your heart rate really goes really low. Your lungs are about to burst. Your mind is kind of there, but kind of not there. Meanwhile, you're hundreds of feet from breathable air, and you're like half unconscious at the bottom of the ocean. I think that feeling, and when you come back up, it's a euphoric feeling. And I think for a lot of people who aren't trying to set world records, who just do this for fun, are addicted to that feeling. Alexei, I think, has a different mission. He, of course, feels that. But he is not just the greatest living freediver. He's the son of the greatest freediver of all time. So he's kind of in his mother's athletic shadow, and he wants to, like, do her right. But he also kind of wants to beat her, I think, in his own way, of course, with respect and love for his mother. And I think that's a really complicated character, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this film.
Most of us struggle to control our, things we do by choice. Here he is controlling these sort of necessary biological processes, like your body's going to want to breathe, and eventually it will force itself to.
Yeah.
So he's not a messy character, he's an intensely controlled character. But he's still really so incredibly watchable. It reminds me of Free Solo, the documentary about the guy who climbs rocks with no rope. Same sort of personality.
Yeah, I think Alexei is even more controlled than, I think his name was Alex in that film as well. This is kind of like Free Solo, but down. Right? Alexei is in total control of his emotional being. And so, as a storyteller, I'm kind of looking for messy characters sometimes, but we lean into that whole thing of him where nothing's sort of out of order. He's a really particular personality type, and that's you have to kind of be that to do these incredible things. You
There's-
can't be messy when you're 512 feet under the water with no air.
You can't capture it if you're messy as well. I mean, you've got to get cameras down there. You've got an incredible scene. I don't think it gives away too much, but there's a scene with sperm whales in the back half of the documentary. It's gorgeously shot.
Thank you.
How did you put this together? How did you figure out how to go from article to film?
It was hard, I'm not gonna lie. To make this film, we flew on 22 different flights. We were in 8 different countries. I was on so many boats, I can't even count them. It took me 3 years of my life to make this film, from when we were developing it till this weekend when it comes out. Please take a watch. And so we did a lot of planning. Filming underwater is as hard as it gets. I think we set a world record ourselves as a film crew with the deepest image ever of a human in the open water. He's 512 feet underwater in that first big dive of the film. Not even the great James Cameron has done that, I believe. You know, it's not on a GoPro, it's on actual cinema cameras.
And it seems far away. Is that because you couldn't go as low?
It's a safety issue. I can't put the camera too close to someone, because if he gets caught up in one of my cameras and he's down there, there's no getting him back.
Speaking of safety, you couldn't even have scuba divers go down to spot him. Why is that?
Because it's too deep. They can't get him back to the surface fast enough, because they'll get the bends. So it's not done in freediving at all. There is no scuba divers. There are safety divers who are free divers themselves, so they're not on oxygen. They are holding their breath. They're meeting him about 30 meters down. In case he blacks out in that last 30 meters, they can get him up. But if he blacks out really low, it's very, very dangerous. There is a safety mechanism that I never saw in play while making this film that could maybe get him back up in time. But it's really dangerous,
He's on
obviously.
his own.
Obviously,
He's on his own.
Were you partially psychologically ready for the fact that you might film somebody's death? As
Yes.
it goes deeper? Yeah.
There's a scene in this film which is very harrowing, and I couldn't sleep the night before. He said what he was going to do the night before, and I couldn't sleep.
Wow.
And yeah, and it was a pretty dramatic day.
Well,
If you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. Michael John Warren, thank you very much.
Thank
People
you.
should definitely watch this. It's called Freediver. It happens to be distributed by Paramount Pictures, which is part of CBS, which we're part of, Paramount Global, the whole deal. We're proud it's part of that. You can also watch it on Prime Video starting on December 7th.